That's not even the worst of it, to be honest with you. Like, the story goes in that not only did obviously he own the slave, but like he would make sure she was on a very strict diet of eggs and whiskey to make sure that she was nothing but bones and skin to make it appear as the 161 was true. And then he even went as far as to remove her teeth. Because at 161 you really shouldn't have teeth. So why do you have teeth? Let me take them out.
Like, it was like the logic jumps.
Oh my gosh, like that's the kind of stuff of nightmares.
Yo, welcome back to Founders Drive Live with...
I wish we're gonna get live. We're gonna be able to stream this live.
Yes.
That's gonna be really fun.
It rhymes right now, so it works.
Yes.
Okay, so welcome back to Founders Drive. This is a place for people who are starting a business, like a solo founder, somebody who might be an experienced founder. You might run a multi-million-dollar business. This is a place for you. You might just be curious about, hey, what goes on behind the scenes at businesses? This is the place for you, because here Jake and I talk about founders. We study businesses, we study what made them great, and we take what we've studied and we apply it to our businesses, and we just share what we're doing, so that way if you're in a situation like us, if you're just curious, then you can benefit from this episode. And today is a really, really good episode because we're talking about a very controversial figure.
Very controversial.
We're talking about, you said he was a bad man.
Bad man.
He's a bad man, a walking contradiction.
Yes.
But somebody who understood marketing. He was a showman.
Yes.
He was somebody who understood what captured the imaginations, the curiosities, the interests of the people at large.
Millions of Americans.
And he made millions of dollars doing it.
Yeah.
And he also created a brand that lasted 127 years after his death, 167 years total. And
it's still happening, isn't it?
I think they retired it.
Did they?
Yeah, I think they retired it. The Ringling Brothers brought them, and then they retired. But I might be wrong.
Yeah, I know because the Ringling Brothers were using that name for a while, even after he was out of the picture.
Yes. So without further ado, we're talking about P.T. Barnum.
Yes.
If you didn't see this on the thumbnail already, we're talking about P.T. Barnum, and we're gonna step through his life in this episode, because that's typically what we do. We step through his life, major stories in his life, events, and then we host a super secret version of this podcast after, called the Super Secret Founders Drive, where we dig into more of the application, the psychology, and takeaways that you can have from understanding this founder. So what's any other housekeeping stuff? I think the last thing is that, like, if you have a founder, leave it in the comments. Exactly. If you want more information, go to constance.com/founders. That description's in the link. And that's where our community is. That's where we put like our information that we've aggregated, our transcripts, and we're gonna be putting out more information around that. So
expect a lot of content coming very soon.
Yes. We just had this whole conversation about how we were gonna update our stuff, and then we might even learn stuff from this episode right here on how to better market and capture the attention of the people that might be our potential buyers.
Yeah.
Cool.
Kick it back to 1810.
1810.
A long time ago.
Yes. So he was born to, what is it, Philo or Philo, I think it was Philo.
Yeah.
Philo Barnum. And he was, there's a story that I read about him at an early age where they pranked him, and they said that this kind of set up his whole framework for life. And this is something that we've been finding with a lot of founders, is that
early life. Yeah,
it's
formative.
It's very formative, and it shapes the way that they look at the world. So P.T. Barnum, Phineas Barnum at this time, he was gifted this land.
An island.
And everybody would tell him, hey man, you're a landowner, you're rich, you're gonna be so rich. And everybody was in on this. His family, his parents, his grandparents. His grandparents, I think, gave it to him.
He gave it as like an inheritance gift of like, hey, I'm looking out for my grandson. Let me give you this island. One day you'll be able to build a house on it.
Yes, one day, son. And he ends up going there around what, 10 or 11, and he sees that it's just swamp infested, like terrible land,
poisonous snakes, poisonous animals,
and everybody started laughing at him, just dying. Like, oh my god, this guy thought he was actually about to be something.
Which is like a wild thing to do for a kid like that.
Yeah, like, ha!
Exactly. Who does that?
We got you. You suck. No, but he ended up just acknowledging it, one, but then two, laughing at it, and then three, recognizing the value of how much people want to believe, and the way the mind works, which is a crazy takeaway, but it served his career for the rest of his life. Yeah. So that was a pretty standout story. I remember seeing that. I was like, oh man, Ivy Island, schoolmates, all of that. They all reinforce the story worthless. And yeah, you see that regardless of people like will believe regardless of evidence. He ended up calling it like the humbug. Yep. But it's just so critical to understand who P.T. Barnum is. And on the other end of this prank, we see that he had some early jobs around 12, 13. He made some money pretty early on. Yeah. His father passed at a young age. 15, I believe. Yeah, 15. And that forced him on this path where he started to say, okay, this is a problem right now. My father's dead, and what am I gonna do next? How am I gonna earn a living in 18 at this point, 25? Yeah, 1825. So his father died in 1825. He left the family in significant debt, which just added on to the pressures. He was the eldest son, so that's even more, especially at a time like that. Oh yeah. You're the eldest boy, you know? Like, you're the eldest boy, PT.
I'm the eldest
do something. Boy. I'm the eldest boy. And so what he did around this time is he inherited the family lottery business. Yeah. And he inherited this from his grandfather. They were generating about $2,000 a year in commission. He found the Herald of Freedom weekly newspaper around this time at age 21. And there was a couple things, like with the lottery business and the newspaper business at the time. The lottery business stood out to me a little bit more because not the lottery business, the newspaper business, because he got sued for libel multiple times.
Imprisoned for libel.
And they say that he kind of embellished that, like, I'm going to prison, I'm going to use this as my freedom speech, and I'm going to take a stand, which in a sense kind of worked. Oh yeah. 100%. But yes, in prison for libel after getting sued 3 times. So you see at this point, he doesn't care too much about I don't want to say he doesn't care too much about the truth, but he doesn't care too much about the truth. It's any publicity is good publicity. Yeah, that's where it starts from. If I'm going to jail, look at me. Like, pay attention right here. Exactly. It's me that's going to jail. That's essentially what it is. Is like, you know, and that lottery stuff coming from like the general store. Eventually, Connecticut outlawed the lottery, so he had to find something else to do. Yeah, and that's really what basically happened right there. It was that kind of inciting problem for his like life's journey. Is okay, I have this lottery business. My father died, but now the stakes raised because they outlawed the lottery business. So I get into the newspaper and I have trouble telling the truth. And I get jailed for this. And so it put him on this path where he was like, okay, I have to start adapting. I have to start, you know, going on my path and, you know, making a name for myself. And around this time is when he starts saying, okay, I want to be a showman. He doesn't get directly in there right away, but he does start on this journey where he's presented with an opportunity. What kind of exhibit should I have? Yes, and this is probably his most controversial part of his life, but of his business too. Yeah, one of many, but yeah, certainly up there. Yeah, well, it's pretty up there. They say, I've heard people take to recount this story, and they said that he leased a slave, and I'm like,
no, he bought her.
Yeah, I'm like, that seems
bought her.
It seems very 18. What was it? 1835.
Yeah,
you
1830s.
You lease a slave.
No, I mean, slavery was still very much legal.
Yeah.
It was, I mean, the Civil War didn't happen until 1860s.
Yeah.
So we're talking 30 years before, you know, we really had this big Abraham Lincoln issue. He bought the slave. Like that's, and people weren't up in arms about it because that was the cultural norm at the time.
Yes.
As bad as that is to say.
Yeah, and so he buys this slave who is supposedly 161 years old.
Supposedly. That's his marketing.
That's what he's. It's a 161-year-old slave who was who raised George Washington.
Yes.
That was the fucking claim.
And people paid money to come see this woman.
Yeah, they paid money to come see this woman. She was so her name was where was it? It was 161 years old. I've looked at this name so many times and now it's blanking.
We can't do this a disservice. It's starts with a J.
Joice Heth. Joice Heth.
Yep.
And this was around 1835. So the documents were obviously forged. He paid $1,000 for the right to exhibit her for 1 year, borrowed $500 of it. He opened at Niblo's Garden, 25 cents admission. When attendance dropped, so yeah, when the attendance dropped, he started. When attendance dropped, he started putting out articles in the area about how she might not even be a real person. Yeah. She might not really be a slave. But again, he was
a medical anomaly.
A medical anomaly. It's the curiosity is what he really leaned into, and I think that's a note that I'm taking away. You know,
on the lighter side,
I've removed myself from the oh shit, okay.
Yeah.
He was a slave owner.
That's not even the worst of it, to be honest with you. Like, the story goes in that not only did obviously he own the slave, but like he would make sure she was on a very strict diet of eggs and whiskey to make sure that she was nothing but bones and skin to make it appear as the 161 was true. And then he even went as far as to remove her teeth. Because at 161 you really shouldn't have teeth. So why do you have teeth? Let me take them out.
Like, it was like the logic jumps.
Oh my gosh, like that's the kind of stuff of nightmares. Right? Where it's like
you're an old woman who you're like, all right, I've lived like a long life right now. I've been a slave. You're
essentially getting tortured, and then you get put on exhibit for people to
come and like
examine,
gawk at you,
all this other things where it's like, and you probably aren't getting paid anything.
I mean, no, not at all.
So
he was probably.
If you can separate yourself from that, then it's like, okay, the marketing, the salesmanship, the story around what these people were paying to come see, is what.
And it is a fine line because, to be clear, you know, he owned a slave. And we're not going to mince words around that. But, or not but, just full stop. Right? There's the main atrocity is that he used his marketing on a person that he owned as opposed to a product.
Benefiting off of...
and then, you know, obviously, like, took it to different heights where he knocked her teeth out, basically starved her and treated her terribly. And he even said at the end when she died, he was like,
didn't even stop then.
He said he cried because he lost, not because you know he lost
because he missed her, but because he lost a really good exhibit. And then he decided, you know what? One last squeeze. He then sold tickets to her public autopsy. A public autopsy.
So it's 50 cents a ticket to come in there and see that a medical examiner showed that she was not 161 years old.
Close.
She was about 81 years old.
It's wild. Absolutely wild.
People used to get away with some wild stuff in America.
Oh yeah, like getting away with wild stuff, and then there's like this, where it's like even more atrocious. But you know, the thing we're highlighting here is that in conjunction with the way that he's marketing and selling, and really telling you a story to entice you to come open your wallet at his exhibit.
I think there's also a takeaway here where marketing is a skill set. and it's not always tied to just the product.
Yeah.
And I think this is something that really highlights that, where this to me shows what you use your skill set for matters. And what you use to market an idea matters. And we'll probably get into this in later founders, but this is true of, you know, big propaganda that we see, where the tactics are very, very effective, but the
morality
and what you use it on is a bigger problem. It's like this stuff is marketing works, and it works really, really effectively, but it's really important how you use it and what you use it on.
I think the other point that I want to bring up in terms of this, that we will absolutely go into in the super secret, but is sacrificing your ethics for the ambition.
Yeah.
He wanted to be a showman. He wanted to get that money, but he, in my opinion, he's sacrificing a lot of ethics and morality to do that. And that's a common theme that'll happen throughout his life. But you have to be conscious of that. I think you should be conscious of that as a founder.
Yeah, and it's a stain on his you know,
legacy. Yeah.
His legacy. I mean, and there's a few times of that, and even later he noticed that too. He was like, he voted for the 13th Amendment
much later. Yeah.
And then he was like, yeah, that was not a good look. And the thing is like, it wasn't a good look. You can't take that back.
Yeah, exactly.
There's not much we can really say to rehab.
No matter
that.
How many times you republish your book.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah. So that leads him to a place where he's like, okay, he was successful around that.
Very
too,
successful.
Which shows, you know, just the climate.
Very
of
successful.
Where America was, but he runs into this next problem where he's about like, I need to expand. I need to take this beyond a one-act show, because that's a lot of what he was doing at the time. And so he also saw this opportunity to get this museum.
I like this story. Yes.
Yeah. And so it's about 1841. It's crazy to say 1841. And he acquires Scudder's American Museum at Broadway and Ann Street in New York.
I had to look up how he did that. I had to look up how he did that.
Yeah, I mean, go
because the guy, he was not, so, you know, this museum was a 5-story building. A very big building in a city, and he was not the highest bidder. He wasn't even close to the highest bidder.
He had no money, really,
exactly.
to bid for like a museum at the time.
Yeah, and so the way that, at least what I was able to find online, is he got a job at the top show, the top, I guess, circus or museum at the time. The people who were going to buy the museum, he was a manager there. And so if they did buy it, he was going to run the place. Cool. So you have one win condition. Then he was like, hey, like, let me do a backdoor deal with the guy who is actually selling this. If that deal falls through, sell it to me on the cheap. And so if the people that he worked for bought it, he was the manager, he'd run it anyway. And if they fell through, he was first in line to buy it. Because he worked for the company, he had to make sure it fell through, and it did fall through. And so he was able to pick it up for less than half of what it was worth.
Yeah.
It was wild in terms of like positioning yourself to get that outcome.
He was, I mean, he was a lot of things, but one thing that he was for sure was clever.
Yeah.
And he was very strategic in how he played people to get what he wanted. Yeah, and then he like there was just this talks of like, he was like, yeah, I'm gonna get this off of, they're like, you don't have anything. He was like, I'm gonna get this off of, you know, brass and cleverness. And he was like, hey, so he got that. So anyway, one of the things that he did around this time was
the mermaid.
Was the mermaid, yes. Is the Fiji Mermaid, and he ran this from July to August in 1842.
I love this.
And this was one of the ones that allowed him to take because he eventually like paid off all of his debts in 5 years.
I think it was 2 years, even faster than that.
That's when he started making, I think, so they paid off the full museum within 5 years. But then he started becoming, I think, profitable in 2 years. Yeah. And the big thing that to take away from this area is he promotes, pre-promotes the exhibit, and that changed it all because it allowed for people to, allowed for him to play to their curiosities.
And even 5 levels of curiosities. You have a mix of things that are real, mix of things that are fake, and so you blur that line between what in here is good, what in here is bad, like, but it's all here. Yeah. And so I'm paying for that experience.
And there's also something about which he highlights around here is the humbug. where people know that it's, you know what it is? It's like a different founder that we talk about on here, Vince McMahon. It's a kayfabe to an extent. Like, we know it's fake, but we're suspending our disbelief to be entertained. That's the kayfabe.
I really like that analogy, because a lot of people will read or like hear that and be like, no, if I know it's fake, then I don't like it.
Yeah.
It's like, well, that's not exactly true.
It's like we don't like it when we can't suspend our disbelief and we can't lose ourselves in the moment.
Yeah.
And that's what he provided, and that's the kayfabe is more in the entertainment space, the performance, I would almost say. But I guess like that's true too with the humbug. That's
I think
like
it's very close. Yeah. I think the mermaid's hilarious because he put, what was it, a mummified monkey top half on a mummified fish bottom half.
Yeah.
And then called it
a mermaid,
a lost mermaid that was found.
The Fiji Mermaid.
Like, oh my gosh! I mean, this is getting into like taxidermy and stuff, where you can just start putting stuff together and be like, "Yeah, I found this out in the wild."
Yeah, man, it's a mermaid. Come pay me 50 cents to come see it.
Yeah.
But you know, like it worked, and it's the deception the audience knows that allowed him to do these things. But that's how he says it. It's like, yeah, they knew it. But when he's promoting it, it's like, you know. And I think he wrote a book on that too.
The whole like
the humbug. Yeah, like the line between lying for entertainment's sake and just outright fraud.
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, I feel like a lot of it's fraud, but
I guess you could always be like, dude, you thought I had a mermaid?
Imagine
like
putting out that much press and then being like, wait, you thought that was real?
It's like, bro, what? I wrote an article about it. I didn't just invent mermaids. The first person in history. You're crazy, dude. You're crazy. Yeah, like epic gaslighting.
Exactly, back in the 1840s.
PT gaslighting.
I did hear one other story from this museum time, which I think is true, that people would stick around in the museum, the 5 stories, for way longer than they should have.
Just like hang around.
There was like hanging around. They're like, well, I don't really want to buy another ticket to come back through this thing. I'll just kind of keep wandering and meandering. So he put up a sign that said like, this way to Egress. And people thought Egress was another attraction. And so they left the door shut behind them, and then you had to walk around to buy another ticket. It's things like this where he was like, yeah, like that was the egress, and then now the door locked behind you. So I mean, you come back in if you want, but you gotta buy another ticket.
Yeah, you just left. I told you. It's all those little things where, you know, people are pulling all these like little levers in tripwires that'll get you, and you're like, that Barnum. So this one I know that you like is so now he's in this space and he's like, okay, I've really conquered the American market. I've made New York a destination. I've set up my roots and my grounds right here, and people are loving it. You know, of course, there's a lot of people that are hating it. People are like, the Natural Museum was like, you sold a monkey to a fish and called it a mermaid. So then he gets into the space where he's like, okay, what's my next attraction? And he meets this young boy named Charles Sherwood Stratton. He's a 4-year-old in Bridgeport.
Technically, they were cousins. Technically, they were cousins.
Hey, fam.
Essentially.
Yeah.
He was dwarf.
Yeah.
Born with dwarfism.
And so he was about 25 inches tall, 15 pounds, when he was 4 years old.
Yeah, I don't think he grew much more than that.
No. And what P.T. Barnum did is he immediately saw him and said, I see dollar signs. He talks to their parents. He says, hey, I'll give you $3 a week and room and board. $3 a week sounds crazy right now. It's still crazy back then.
I think it's pretty good money. I think like if you adjust it, I think it's around $70 or $80 a week.
Okay.
For just showing up.
Yeah.
Which, not bad. And for someone who in the 1840s or 50s is born with dwarfism, your career potential is not very
high.
It's very limited. It's very limited.
So naturally, he adjusts the story around now and he says, you're not 4 years old, you're 11 years old. We're going to exaggerate the size difference right here. And he taught them how to sing, how to dance, how to do impressions, and how to perform comedic skits. And to Charles's credit, he was very good.
Yeah.
And he picked up very, very quickly and became a really, really entertaining kid. And he was a very good performer as a kid. So
it does help that he was given this kid at 6 years old whiskey and cigars to make him look like an adult.
Yeah.
And you being able to convey that way, even though he probably had a very high squeaky voice, just the look and the feel of somebody dressed as a general.
Yeah. A little, yeah.
Being 25 inches tall.
And they called him General Tom Thumb.
Yes.
Yeah.
Honestly, one of the things that really catapulted him into
stardom.
Yeah. And that was not only in America, but also all over the world.
And so in 1884, January, he takes Tom Thumb to England.
He did do that. Yeah. And he was received by the Queen, right?
Yeah. Yeah. There was a moment where it was Queen Victoria. You can imagine how old this was. And the initial engagements were a little lukewarm and modest, but Barnum engineered a meeting with the
royal family.
Yeah, the royal family, the aristocracy over there, and Tom Thumb was singing songs there. He did his Napoleon impression, danced with the royal family, and there was a moment there where
and he put a crap ton of press out about that.
Yeah,
in the U.S.
Yeah, and it worked because people were like, I want to go and see this mini general that's out here and can sing, dance, and do all these things. But there was a moment there where there was and this goes to show Tom Thumb's entertainment ability, where he was performing in front of the Queen, a dog barked, and then Tom pulled out his sword like he was about to fight with the dog, and then they got a picture of it and the Queen laughing, and that went viral at the time. They were printing it in all the presses, and that was a big moment that happened for the whole tour. And the tour generated about $150,000 in profit, which is about $5 million in today's dollars. Actually, even more than that, about $5.5 million.
Wow.
Right now. So it was highly profitable, and he was a guy that would go on tour and basically committed his life to making
the show must go on.
The show must go on.
I think he was one of the first millionaires in America.
Yeah.
Which is wild, from showmanship.
Yeah. Yeah, he was definitely one of the most wealthy around the time too. And yeah, from showmanship, from entertainment. So at this point he's kind of on top of the world, like literally.
Time to build a castle.
Yeah. And so he's already the most famous showman in America, if not the world, because America was pretty much the one place where you have shows to this extent. And he wants to now take it to the next level and start expanding his success and turning it into and incorporating celebrity marketing. And so he built his castle in Iranistan.
Yeah, beautiful house.
And that's cost about $5 million in today's dollars.
Yeah.
And it was the most famous private residence in the 1850s America. And part of what he did at Iranistan is around this time was the Jenny Lind tour.
Yes.
You know about that one?
This was the
one with the
songbird.
Yes.
The nightingale.
Yes.
The Swedish nightingale.
And he put a lot of money into promoting her before he even heard her sing or something.
Yeah, he spent a lot of his fortune, even like getting her visas and stuff like that to get her into the U.S. and that was a huge attraction.
Yeah, it was huge, and he took a huge bet on that too.
Yeah.
So he knew almost nothing about her. She was unknown in America. He offered her about $1,000 per concert, 150 concerts, and he gave her guarantees. So she was like, "I'm down," and he borrowed mostly everything that he was going to do to make this happen. He mortgaged against the American Museum and his new residence, and he had never met her or heard her sing. But this goes to show how powerful promotion is, especially repeated and heavy promotion. So the marketing campaign, he sends an advance team to America 6 months before her arrival, and they're talking about her voice, how lovely she sounds, how beautiful she is, her charitable work, her humility. They're painting this picture of who she is and building her up. And they even had this contest around her where you can win $200 to be in the Jenny Lynn contest and win it. And he bought a steamboat and named it the Jenny Lynn. Yeah. And September 1, 1850, her ship lands and docks in New York. 30,000 people meet her at the dock. 5,000 more people line in the streets to the hotel, and there's a torchlight parade of welcome committees that evening to bring her there.
Like more than the president gets.
Yeah, seriously, right? Who was the president at the time?
I mean, honestly.
And then so September 11th, 1850, Lower Manhattan, they do the first concert, and they end up selling, and they end up doing very, very well. They do 95 concerts in 18 months, grossed $712,000 in that time. Comes out to about $30 million, $32 million today.
Yeah.
And she got her nice cut, about $8-9 million. He got his nice cut, $7 million in today's dollars.
Right.
And it was considered the first modern celebrity marketing campaign. And at the peak, this is his peak pretty much in his first go round. He's about 42 years old, most successful showman at the time then, and for a long time in history, especially given the climate that he was working with and what he was able to pull off.
Yeah.
And he's living like a king at this time. But then,
not all sunshine and rainbows.
Not all sunshine and rainbows. We have the Jerome Clock disaster.
Yeah, he was backing a company that didn't pan out and put way too much of his assets into that liability.
Yep.
Ended up bankrupting him.
He had been deceived. The roosters come home.
Yeah, it was certainly a low point, and this is in I believe in the late 50s, where also in the late 50s, another really bad thing happened where his house burned down.
Yep.
Like
overnight.
Like, come on.
And the insurance covered $28,000 of it.
Yeah.
And it was a $150,000 loss.
Yeah. Certainly resetting him back to square one.
Yeah. They said the loss was Afghanistan was harder than the loss of the money. And so bankruptcy would legally charge the debts. He could walk away clean, but he refuses bankruptcy. At 46, he relaunches the Tom Thumb tour, takes Stratton, now 19, and a child actress, Cardella Howard, on a multi-year tour in Britain, Germany, and the Netherlands, spends 5 years on the road repaying creditors who have no legal recourse against him. 1860, he had paid back every dollar of the Jerome Clock debt. The press treats the repayment as a moral triumph. By press, I'm pretty sure that he had an influence on that.
Right.
Right. Wow, you are so great. The 5 years cost him millions of dollars and the best working years of his middle age. They bought him a public reputation that allowed him the entire second half of his career. Without the repayment, he could not have been elected to the Connecticut state legislature, which he did get elected to, and could not have been elected the mayor of Bridgeport, which he did coming up. And this leads to his second act, which is essentially him
more of what he's known for.
More of what he's known for is where he eventually finds he runs for office, and he wants to like go down that route, but then his showman life keeps calling him back, keeps pulling him back.
That's right.
And he can't deny it, and he pursues it, and then he ends up taking that to another level. Do you want to park it here? Do you want to give a little bit of a
I think we can go a little bit into some of these like greatest shows on earth.
Okay.
Because I think there was other things in here that kind of come back from his childhood in terms of just like things that he was allowing to happen at some of these shows. Something else to note here is and most people know, right, this is the circus we're talking about.
Yeah.
America at this point in the late 1800s, almost 100 years after America was even started, very isolated, very not very cultured in terms of worldviews and stuff like that. And so when we're talking about these kinds of shows, this was all the excitement people had. Yeah. This was like the entertainment. Think about...
Well, let's go even further this time. There's a Civil War time.
Yeah, right.
You know, 1860 at this time. And so it's very fractured in what you're talking about.
Yes.
And, you know, it's not very, you know, melting pot like we know it today, where people all just come together despite all of our views and everything. People were trying to literally say, hey, we want to break from like America.
The Union, yeah.
Yes. So
yeah, I will say, and then there's a whole side story to the whole Civil War too, where there's like people's perception of what that was supposed to be was completely altered in the first couple of years of the war. Some of the nobles would come out to some of the battles and bring their picnic baskets to watch the war happen. Obviously, that didn't work very well when bullets start flying your way. But yeah,
we're going to watch the war.
Bring us some sandwiches.
Yes, please. Make sure that we have more than enough to eat. Yes.
And so, yeah, there's like a lot of things here where I feel like it does play into this whole like suspend your disbelief, come see these things that are unbelievable. Yes. Escapism is a good word for that.
Yeah. So his second act, and he has another 30 years where he runs this up, he's back at the museum. He's in full control of the museum. 1860s is like the peak commercial time of the museum. A lot of people want to escape around this time. And he says, you know what, I'm trying to take my next step in my journey, and I want to build my legacy that's going to last. Yeah. And so he runs for office. He runs for mayor. Well, the Connecticut General Assembly, wins, and then and at this point he gives a speech, and he's been giving a lot of speeches around this time too. Yeah. A lot on like temperance and different items, but he also says, I'm gonna run for mayor, and he wins.
Yeah.
And so, and there's some pretty big things here. Like now this is when he votes for the 13th Amendment, around the time, and he's, you know, going on this different track in his life, but then he has two big fires that happen at his museums around here.
Yep. And these museums, I mean, yeah, just devastating.
Yeah.
To lose all of these curiosities and acts and exhibits.
Yeah, it was 600,000 exhibits that were lost. Many animals were dead because of this. A beluga whale boiled to death in its tank. Yeah. There was a total loss of about $400,000 in 1860 dollars. Comes out to about $8 million today. Wow. The shrines didn't cover much of that. Within 2 months, Barnum opens Barnum's new American Museum in the Chinese Assembly Rooms in Broadway. March 3rd, 1868, the Second American Museum also burns to the ground. It had a faulty furnace. At 58 years old, Barnum had lost 2 consecutive multi-million-dollar businesses to fire within 3 years. And he says, okay, I can't do this anymore. I am going to move into a traveling show.
Let's take it on the road. Can't burn down if I keep moving.
Exactly. And I mean, this guy with fires, it just wasn't his thing.
No.
You know?
No, it was wild.
From Iranistan.
That kind of unluckiness.
Yeah. But also it's like, hey, if you don't believe in karma,
there's that.
You know?
There's the famous take my bad times and turn them into good times.
Make lemonade out of lemons.
That's right.
Yeah. So the circus is basically what this was the groundworks for.
Yeah, the modern day circus.
Yeah, P.T. Barnum is called the Grand Traveling Museum, Menagerie, Caravan.
Menagerie.
Is that how you say it? Menagerie. Menagerie. Caravan and Hippodrome.
The Hippodrome, which is the modern day. It's the famous. Oh my gosh, why am I blanking on the Madison Square Garden?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Yes, that's huge, and he would sell that place out. But yeah, kind of going a little bit into this like circus stuff. He had a lot of different attractions, and there's also some things that he used to do with, you know, there's always that saying of never trust a carny. Yeah. Where he would invite pickpockets to be among the crowd, and he would say, hey, like, I don't care if you pickpocket my customers as long as you cut me in. So stuff like that comes back up, right? There's this whole story around like the ticket sellers would essentially scalp tickets, and that's how they would make their money. Some ticket sellers would even pay for the privilege to sell his tickets, and then they would make money based on the difference they were able to charge customers.
This guy's like he's like a legitimate con man.
A lot of these things I feel like today would be seen as con men. Yeah. And it's, the whole walking down New York City, the lady under the cup, or the where's the queen, where everybody else is in on the trick except for you because you're the mark. And so these kinds of things are happening, and he does this in town after town after town, where you don't really have a lot of recourse. If you figure out, $5 is missing from my wallet, the circus is gone.
We bounced. Peace.
So there's a lot of stuff there. We eventually get into him partying with John Bailey and being the Barnum and Bailey show.
That was huge. That was big because Bailey was 33 at the time.
Yep.
Barnum was 70 at the time, and they partnered up and they created the Barnum and Bailey.
Yeah, and then obviously you get into the other elephant that he bought, the African elephant Jumbo. Bought that from a London zoo.
Yeah.
A lot of people weren't so happy about it.
No, not at all.
But Jumbo was big.
A big boy.
And the only great way that he was able to play nice with his caretakers was when he got drunk. So they used to feed him a lot of alcohol. Giant elephant. They used to feed a lot of alcohol.
Mr. Jumbo.
There was a lot of accents too, like taking this from town to town. I think something to note here is he utilized trains. One of the first persons to do entertainment via the railway system, but that wasn't without its unfortunate mishaps where he had a couple trains derail. One of them, I believe, did kill Jumbo.
And people weren't happy about that. The Queen spoke out about the Jumbo situation. The Queen Victoria.
The Victorian times. But
the Jumbo created this merchandising empire, and the kids loved Jumbo.
It added a word to the dictionary. Like now we think Jumbo shrimp. You know what I mean?
Wow. And then also like Dumbo was that
I don't know. I have no idea. But I do know that like Jumbo was not a word in the dictionary until P.T. Barnum.
And so that's basically that was his last and his final show. But he did before he died, he said he wanted to read his own obituary. So he had his
publish it early, please.
And he did, and then he died 2 weeks later. Like right after his birthday, and that was the final curtain call. I think it was right before his 81st birthday, like 3 weeks before. It was very interesting. I think, like we said at the beginning, a walking contradiction in terms of things that happened in his early life that were radically different, signing the 13th Amendment, and things later on. A very full life.
I'm excited to get into some of these super secret topics because of the kind of genius marketing and how we can see that happening maybe with some of the hyperscalers that are in today's market.
Yes, and what we can take from that and what we can do with that. So yes, we're about to get into that on the super secret Founders Drive, and you can find us on constance.com. That's where we have our community. That's where we have more of these episodes and information. On that super secret episode, we're going to be talking more about the psychology. We're going to get into a little bit more of these topics on how we can take the good things from what he did and apply it, and it's going to be fun. So tap into that, and we'll catch you next week.
All right.
Peace out.